Alrighty, Lumberjacks, welcome back to another episode of FDR Logging, because that is who we are and that's what we're doing. So this episode, as you can see, we have a yarder set up here, so this will be our fun little episode. We might get to play with this. Actually, you know what? I'll play with this right off the bat. So I do have a bunch of wood up here. There's some actually decked right here too. Maybe what we'll do is we're going to bring that loader over, and I guess we're just going to process it right onto this road. Honestly, I didn't really have a super big plan for how we were going to sort this wood out. So this video, although I can't place this in time of how this will work for you guys, but this video, we are using the new 5.0 mods. So the 5.0 mods are a drastic change from the previous one. So we might talk about physics a little bit in this episode just for fun, since it's such a new, dear to my heart thing. So updated on physics. I've changed a lot of stuff with the physics now. We've actually I've managed to oops, I'm hitting a tree here. I've managed to get the physics back to stock, almost stock weights, very similar to stock weights. So you can actually use in-game Giants equipment with these maps now and with these trees, and the physics are friendly with one another. So I was testing it out the other night, and so the biggest reason I've done that is gone back to lighter weights is because I've found for physics and desync, if you're playing in multiplayer, if you're playing in single player, whatever, I've noticed when the weights are heavier, you get more desync in your calculations of your logs. So for instance, if I'm swinging these logs around when they're very heavy and I have low frame rate, I seem to get a lot more iterations between the physics. They glitch out more. There's more lost logs, there's more flying trees, there's more weird stuff that's going on with them. With lighter ones, there seems to be less of a calculation with the mass to the actual machine. So even in lower frame rates, they behave, you know, I want to say 50% or more better than they do when they're heavier. So that was kind of a big cue for me to look into it and go, well, if that's happening, then there's got to be something to it. So obviously the trade-off and the good part, it's not the trade-off, the bonus is that you're able to use these trees and these machines with in-game equipment now, which is kind of a cool bonus. So we're actually going to play with the yarder today. Let's put that line up as high as it'll go. We're going to see here. This yarder is not been tested yet by the time of this video, so we're just going to play around. So we got our little, I made a video about this. I got a lot of controversy over this. We got this little pump connection here with a little plate on the back, and that's how I connect it. That's still, at the time of this video, how that's working out. And honestly, it's the best method I've found yet. There are some scripts floating around. I've had guys send me scripts saying, why don't you use this script, so a lot of those scripts don't work in multiplayer, and a lot of those scripts cause issues with the grapples that I have run into for locking script. Oops, why don't we pull the stuff that's closest? How about it? I try to use the shadow on the ground to keep track of where my grapple is, and then it gets all whoo, and then when you slow it down, is that the first pile? No, there's one more pile here. Yeah, right here. You get to control this janky camera. I originally had the camera further back on this guy, but the feedback that I got, people said in real life they actually have the camera on the grapple itself, so it's really floppy around, looks all crazy. So I watched a couple videos and I'm like, oh yeah, they do too. So we're going to try this out and see how she goes. So you can lift it and then turn it as you pull. And I'm kind of just building a little log deck right over here, right next to our current one that we just kind of threw down. So we'll try to, oh, I think we went a little too far there. Probably about there, I want to say. Oop, let's rotate that this way a little bit. Let's just see how close we are here before we continue. I think that's pretty close. Yeah, oh, I could come forward actually quite a bit. We could bring that up a little bit. Whoops. Switching camera views here. Okay, let's see if we can make a correction here. Swing it this way a little bit. So yeah, anyway, in this update, like I said, so that's a big change, is bringing the physics to a more standard standard weight. And there's tons of other stuff with the grapples and fixes and changes, and oh, it's so good. So good. It'll be good. I'm excited. Maybe by the time this video comes out, you guys will have it already, but if you don't, hopefully it'll be coming soon. Very soon. So my plan was to just kind of steal from these piles here. It's funny because you get turned sideways and then you're trying to like aim and you're like, here we go. And there we go. Shweek. Perfect. And then obviously the further away you are from the piles, the more janky your feeling is going to be on your... Oh my goodness. Look at that. It hopped. Ooh. The more janky it feels the further you are away, because you're putting so much weight at such a distance. Oop. Let's go back up here right about there. But sure handy pulling logs this way. I mean, you could do just as good with a skidder. And I mean, lots of guys do, but this works pretty darn good too. And it's just another option for people that want to do something a little different. What am I missing? You know what I'm missing? I need to put an LTech logo on this actual grapple, and I think that'd be pretty sweet. So what if I just see if I can push this ahead a little here? There we go. Shwook. It's like ultimate claw machine. You guys ever play with the claw machines when you were kids? Hell, not even when you're a kid, when you're an adult too. Trying to get the plush toys out of the machine at the arcade with the claw machine. It's kind of what this is like. A little bit different, but similar. Similar concepto. Let's dump this right there. And I really want to fix this one tree. Let's see if I can do it from here without using the other camera. Oh, no. Depth perception. Back a bit. There we go. Right about there. Whoop. So what I'm trying to do is get that piece to pop out of there. There we go. Whoop. Yeah, it's actually really fun. I think you guys will enjoy playing with this thing. It's quite entertaining. And like I said, it's like claw machine. You just kind of give her. Let's grab this other little tiny piece here too. Where is it? Right here. Oh, we need to go this way a bit. And it's not exactly in tune to a legit grapple yarder like real life. A little bit different, obviously. But the concept is here. And we'll bring this one over here. Maybe we'll grab one more bundle, stick in the middle. I don't want to get too many trees all in one pile here. Otherwise, we might run into issues. We'll see. See, yeah, like I said, big physics changes. Lots of neat different things. Always controversial, as always. But honestly, the grapples alone will be worth the update alone, because I've been having a blast with them. I think they've worked out really well. Let's turn this. And I might be able to get all of this little chunk here. I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch. Eat. And when the further out you are, the smaller the movements make such a big difference too. Let's see here. Oh, that's a bit of a grab. We'll see how she goes here. Oh, it's going. A little slippery there, but she's going. Yeah, so like I said, when you're fairly close, the movements are pretty accurate when you're moving up and down and doing just kind of like light movements and stuff. But the further you get away from your machine, the more sensitive you gotta be. You gotta be very gentle. Oops. There we go. Grab that other piece. Yeah, we'll leave the top pile. We'll do one more grab here, and then we'll start processing some of that. And I think I'm going to process into shorts now. We'll do some... Maybe some... Ooh, what size should we do? 7s? Maybe 7s. 7s are always a good one. But as you can see, the pump system holds down fairly well. It's a little jerky. It likes to jump up a little bit, but there's a lot of weight on that line too coming up here, so no big surprise there. So your machine doesn't stay perfectly stable. Like you can see it hops around a little bit, but it stays on the ground. And like I said, I've looked into some of the other scripts and stuff, and it's a different style of system for sure. So yeah, like I said, it's a little hokey looking, but I like it. I don't really care. I think it's pretty sweet, and it works. So that's really all you can ask for. Oh, we got our processor right here. We're gonna start chopping some 7s. So yeah, everything's changed a little bit in terms of the way the logs interact, the way that the logs pile, the way that they load. The last update, 4.0, I had a lot of feedback from people that were saying it was too arcadey now. Like the logs felt way too light. They felt way too feathery. They didn't stack very well. That was probably some of my biggest feedback, was that I did tone them down quite a bit, so I made them a lot easier to handle. But some guys want the mass. They want them to feel a little bit heavier so that there's actually some mass to it. We're just going to stack all this on this hill and have it all roll back on us probably here. And I don't want these ends. We'll have a crappy pile. So yeah, in this update, like I said, everything just feels a little... It feels heavier even though it's not heavier. I guess that would be the way to put it. I spent a lot of time trying to get these machines to kind of balance out in terms of how they react to the logs. It's such a strange way to put it, because you can the interaction of the physics from the grapples and the processors and all the implements to the actual logs themselves. You can actually kind of feel it while you're working, even though you can't really actually feel it. It doesn't like that. I don't know how to really describe that. Visually you feel it, if that's even a thing. Visually you can feel the reaction of the implement to the logs, and that feeling is what I was going for, because I want people to have that look of like, oh man, that's actually really heavy. You know, the whole machine feels like it's kind of tippy when I pick that up. Like, you got to have that. That's the one missing gene in this game when you're playing, because in real life, it absolutely is like that. It says you can't cut that tree. That's why we have that beautiful manual cut. You just give it a little snip, and then suddenly now it's a good tree. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Sometimes it just pretends like the tree you're cutting is not legit or something. Don't really know. Yeah. Considering the physics we have, like, they're good. There's just some things that are a bit of a hiccup. You know, the frictions, the feel, the shape. I mean, the other problem, obviously, is these trees on the physics level aren't exactly perfectly round either. They're kind of, they got squared off little edges on them. So they're not perfectly round. If they were perfectly round, I think you'd have a little bit different of an effect that you'd have from the trees themselves. But because they're not perfectly round, they hang up a lot more, especially when you're grabbing them with the grapples. So to counter that, I tried to play with the friction levels to make them more slippery, so they slip a little bit better, so you can grab them with the grapples better. I wish you could control the direction of slippage. Like, if you could control the slippage on an X and Y axis, like X friction versus Y friction or something, that would be huge. Because then you can make it so the logs don't slide forward or backward, but they do slide really well side to side. So when you're loading them up on a truck, they grab each other really well. If you hit the brakes, they don't slide forward. But when you put them down into the bunks, they actually slip past each other and stack nice. That would be kind of the ultimate way to do it. But unfortunately, we don't have that control. It's just friction of the overall object and the collision. And to anybody that doesn't really know what I'm talking about, that's probably just sounds like a bunch of gibberish, so I apologize. It all makes sense in the grand scheme of how they work. And, I mean, from what you're seeing, this is kind of how it has been going, and it's, you know, very smooth. Same with loading. I did some live streaming on TikTok. They were showing off some of the new physics, and the loading stuff was pretty fantastic. As you guys will see eventually on this series, when we start loading stuff, I can show it off a little bit better. But yeah, it's a pretty quick way getting all the wood to the landing. Using the grapple yard is kind of like a cheat. It feels like a cheat code anyway. Because you're kind of whipping it over there and you're like, ah, that was easy. Maybe that was a little too easy. In real life, you can usually only pull in a pretty straight line. With this yarder, you can kind of cheat a little bit and spin. If you get too far off, usually it's about I want to say a 25 to 30 degree rotation range you have before you're going to run into problems. And the problems being if you're trying to pick up logs from a really far distance and you're not basically within a 20 to 30 degree angle of your initial hookup point of your machine, you might have that tail part on the back that locks to that piece. You might have that spin on you or twist on you, which wouldn't be super great. So it's going to be interesting to see how people use that. I think it'll be fun, actually. I think it'll be very fun. I'm going to get a little closer to this pile, actually. Let's go like this, because my arm is not as super long on this guy. There we go. We don't want to drift away. So yeah, the grapple yarder will be one of the big toys. I won't talk about anything else that's coming out in it because at the time of this video, who knows? I have stuff on the go, but sometimes it makes the cut and sometimes it doesn't. So I hate pre-announcing going, hey, this was going to be in there. And then you guys are watching this video and the update's already out and you're like, that wasn't in there. He said it was going to be in there, but it's not in there. So the grapple yarder, yes, definitely will be in the next update. Something for you guys to play around with. I'm sure the controversy over how it hooks up. See, the thing about it that I like, yes, so hooking it to a fixed object on the ground that you have to plant yourself, in terms of gaming, it feels hokey because we're doing stuff that you're really not supposed to be doing in the first place. But I can't use the in-game yarder script because it doesn't work for what I'm trying to do. I did try to play with it, and it's just there's no way. It's not in the way that I want to do it anyway. And like I said, there are scripts out there that exist, but one, they're not mine. The ones that do exist, and I admit that I did try a couple of them, even though they're not mine, and they don't work for what I'm doing anyway. So it's all good like that. But I'm really proud of the fact that it's all physics based. So you can use it in multiplayer. There's no script. There's no special script. You're literally just using the raw power of the game's physics, which can be a bit of a sketchy nightmare at times, but can also be a really neat thing. It's like this processor, for instance. These secondary rollers right here, those are all physics. I designed that and figured that out in, I think it was FS19, where you got these manual roller physics. So like I said, a manual roller, I can open this and roll this back and forth, and that's all physics on its own. There's no script. There's no hooking script to attach the object to the head. There's nothing. It's just pure physics on physics under spring force with friction scales. That's it. Controlling all of that movement. So as soon as I discovered I could do that with this processor after really trying a whole bunch of different techniques, once I discovered that, I knew that we could do some other cool stuff. And that was kind of the concept that went into when I built the yarder. I was like, oh, hey, I wonder if I could do this and this and this with the yarder, make it work. Using that fixed point as a connection point, it's not a perfect solution, and it's not the most professional looking solution, but it does work. I might attempt, and I'm gonna say hard attempt. I might attempt to build my own placeable. I've never actually made placeables in this game, like my own personal ones. Never. The only thing that ever came close was that mill building in FS 1922. That mill building that fed the logs into it. It wasn't actually my building. It was paying homage to the original forest mod for FS 13. I used their building with the feeding script from the chipper. But I've never actually built my own placeable. I'm sure it's not that difficult when it comes to the modding side, but I may try to build my own type of placeable that you can hook onto with the grapple yarder. That's something I would like to do. I just haven't done it yet. So at the time of this video, me talking about it, I don't have it, but maybe on release I'll have it, or maybe shortly after release. I might let it out for a while just to let people play with it and see how it goes. But the concept is there. Now I just need to make something prettier. So I don't know what we could use to... I guess I could make like a stump or something like that. That's just a stump-shaped object or something with a notch in it to catch. But, I mean, you can use whatever you want. I mean, you can back up to a tree and lock it on there if you find the right shape, size tree. I'm going to back up a little bit here. I just realized we're really matching the hill's height here with our pile. So let's lay this down here. Our pile's a little wonky here. I see the weighted side's been kind of slipping down the hill. You can see the butt side on this pile is just like down the hill while the tops are way up top. But if we keep piling it here, it should kind of balance itself out. But yeah, it's fun. I like playing with the physics and just seeing what kind of crazy monstrosities we can make. I think it's really entertaining. And honestly, I was surprised the grapple yarder concept worked at all, because I was looking at it originally and was like, that's never going to work. And I'd built kind of like a really rough version of it, and I was like, I don't know. I guess the next version I got to build is a winch line version, which I don't think will be difficult to do. I don't think it'll be difficult to do. I have some ideas in my head on how I can do that, and I think it'll be pretty easy. Because basically it just exactly what it is now, but instead of dropping a grapple line, you just have like a metal poggy bit that would basically come down with a winch line hook on it or something, and then you just hook all your chokers up basically to all your logs, and then you just haul it up same as before. The only thing that would suck about that one is if you didn't have people down there doing the grappling yourself, you would have to, well, unless I could make the exit point so when you get out of the machine, you fall out of the yarder carriage instead of out of the seat. That would be the only way I can think to get that working for a long range things. Otherwise, you'd have to run all the way down the hill, hook up your lines, run all the way back up the hill, get back in the yarder, and pull your lines up. But it'd be really simple. Like, you could do it in multiplayer for sure. You could have a hook tender basically. That'd probably actually make for pretty good multiplayer stuff. Because it's basically just using the winch system that's already existing. We wouldn't have to add anything special. There's no added, scripting stuff. There's no weird multiplayer issue stuff. It would just be a winch line that you hooked up to logs and reefed it up the hill. So you'd have some guy in the grapple yarder just kind of giving her, and then have a hook tender or multiple hook tenders down below doing their thing. Yeah, that could be kind of cool. I'm just gonna get this out of the way. We'll end up yarding more wood here, I'm sure. I'll just let that dangle. Let the dangle. Look at that, nice big pile of wood. I'm gonna use this chipper guy here, and I'm gonna clean up all our little bits to try to help our future possible performance. The other thing I was going to look into doing was actually looking into the oh man, what was I just going to say? I'm brain dead today, I swear to God. Graphic settings. I was going to play with the DLSS stuff, which I'm still very new to, but I've used it on a couple other games, and it actually worked out really well for giving you a lot more performance, better frame rate, that kind of stuff. And the quality didn't, in some games, the quality doesn't actually look too bad from your basic stock stuff. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, that actually might be something worth doing, or at least testing in this game. Just got to remember what my original settings are so I don't bork it up too bad. So I might play with that a little bit, and if I come to a really good conclusion, I might make a video on that, on how to set it better, if I can make it look better. Because I don't really want to lose the quality I have too bad, if I can help it. Another bonus that came with these lighter weights of these machines is you can actually drive over log piles with the skidders and stuff now. It's kind of cool. You can actually drive over them with these things too if you wanted. I don't want to wreck this pile. Some of the lighter piles, they don't seem to settle super well. But you could technically drive your track machine over this edge. Actually, you know what? Let's do, just for the fun of this video, I'll save it. Just for the fun of this video, we'll do it. Now, I don't know how the track machine is going to do on this pile, but we can give it a shot. But on the skidders and stuff, you can drive them over these piles quite well. Let's go outside. And the reason we saved it, so these piles, like if they start to slip, lift yourself up on the pile a little bit like that. Get some height. So as you can see, oh, it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. The logs are kind of glitching out. But it's actually sitting on there, which is kind of cool. So technically you could build yourself a little, if you had like a ditch, you could fill it full of logs and drive over it if you wanted. Again, the skidders seem to act a little differently than these guys. But I mean, that's pretty cool, hey? Now, you could not do that with the last update. In 4.0, with these machines being as heavy as they were, you absolutely could not run over the logs. So that was another, that was actually the biggest tell for me when I would change the physics, was that, like I said, we were having performance issues in multiplayer with the heavy logs. And then when I switched to lighter stuff, we didn't have those performance issues anymore. Driving over those logs in multiplayer, they glitched out to all hell, but when they were lighter, they're actually a lot smoother. So that was a big tell for me physics-wise that something had changed. So with that big of a change, I'm hoping we'll see better performance, performance-related, you know, kind of bonuses that we'll see from stuff, but we'll see. Anyway, at the time of this video, this is all just kind of up in the air, but hopefully by the time you guys get 5.0, it will be a pretty cool update that you guys will like. So, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, and when we come back to the next one, we'll keep grilling our trees here and doing our thing, and it'll be fun. All right, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.